The 12th season of the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup has already got underway and in fine style. A head-to-head between Ryota Ogiwara and Seryu Ikegami went down to the wire and went the way of Ogiwara. So be sure that Ikegami will strike back. In yesterday's race, we had drama downfield and a red flag. And when we did get underway, it was a battle to behold at the front. Ogiwara versus Ikegami. There was a couple of locals in there as well with Thai wildcard Chit Wirral Chat and also Bumperaway. So keep an eye on those two looking to try and achieve home glory. It's enough to keep the fans cheering here at the Chang International Circuit. A fine way to start a new season and a new era of the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. This is yesterday's race. The battle went all the way down. This was on the last lap. As you can see, Ogiwara and Ikegami swapping places. It was Ogiwara with his fine move through at turn 7. They battled all the way down through turn 8. And in the end, Ikegami perhaps just a little bit overly exuberant, and it just cost him in the end. A defensive line down to turn 12 for Ogiwara got him another race win, his third in the class. And he goes into today as the rider to beat. We had Skittles at the back at turn 12. But it's Ryota Ogiwara with a target on his back. Hello and welcome here trackside to the Chang International Circuit on Sunday morning, and I can tell you it is already scorchio. It's very, very warm indeed. The warmest morning we've had here since we touched down in Thailand on Wednesday. I'm Kiko Giles, and alongside me for this race and throughout the whole season, Elliot York. Elliot, what a way to start the year yesterday, and for everyone at home watching, I'm sure that if they enjoy it half as much as what we do, they're in for a treat in 2025.
Yeah, good morning, Kiko. Good morning to everyone watching on from home, wherever you are in the world. Another fascinating year in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup awaits, and as you can see, the fans here in their thousands already. Got here nice and early this morning. A massive day for Thailand. Motorsport fans coming here in their droves, and it's fantastic to see such passion. Getting here nice and early to see the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup boys, and of course they had a Thai podium finisher yesterday. They'll be cheering on Bumperaway especially to try and get on the podium once again in race 2. But a fascinating battle yesterday, Kiko, between the two Japanese riders, primarily Ikegami and Ogiwara. Unwanted drama, of course, in race 1 on the opening lap, but it did go all the way down to turn 12, as we predicted, as it so often does here in Thailand. A fantastic venue to come racing for round 1, and I'm excited to see what we get today.
It's going to be a belter, that's for sure. Hopefully we'll get all 15 laps underway as well, because that red flag yesterday on lap 1 meant that when we did restart, we had a reduced distance, just 2/3, so that's 10 laps. The 10 laps we had was still special, but we really do want to get a full race under our belts. 15 laps of the Podium circuit here. As you can see, the fans already flocking into the grandstands. These are the main grandstands above the pit boxes, but I can tell you from our commentary viewpoint that other grandstands on the other side. Turn 11's busy already. Out towards the exit of turn 1, it's filling up nicely. So the fans here in Thailand, dedicated to motorcycle racing, we know that, but particularly when there's a chance of a home success, and that can come in many classes today. MotoGP with Somkiat Chantra, Moto3 with Tachkorn Boazri, who's had his best ever qualifying, and also here, because we had a Thai rider on the podium yesterday, Nopapong Bumperaway.
Yeah, on the podium and on the front row once again for race 2. A fantastic weekend so far for Bumperaway. He was in the mix for the fight for the lead, wasn't he, until about 2-3 laps to go. He made a couple of mistakes on the exit of turn 8 on consecutive laps. A big near sort of high side was a little bit of a scare, but he got his head back down and stayed within a second of the two leaders, Ikegami and Ogiwara, but just lost touch at the end of the race when the two Japanese riders, on your screen here, the 16 of Ogiwara and the 14 just behind him as they complete their second sighting lap here at the Chang International Circuit, just got their head down, got into a rhythm. Sort of experience paying off in the latter stages of the race, just allowed Bumperaway to lose touch slightly, but nonetheless, what a fantastic result for the Thai rider on home soil. And he'll have learned a few things yesterday, keeping close tabs on the two Japanese riders ahead of him. So I think we're going to be in for a treat, and potentially the Thai fans will be as well. What a start it would be for their morning to see another Thai rider, or possibly two, on the podium today.
I think we've got a very strong chance of at least one, so keep an eye on the number 20, Novapong Bumpraway. Lots of fans in the grandstand supporting the number 20, so be sure that he's got support here today. Seryu Ikegami couldn't quite convert pole position yesterday. He has got a win in the class. He only made his debut, of course, last year. He had his 6th podium of his career yesterday. So he's looking to try and make it 7, but trying to make it 2 wins as well.
Absolutely, yeah. He came so close yesterday. Less than a 10th splitting the top 2 over the line. He tried a couple of times on that final lap, didn't he? A brilliant move up to turn 4, the fast left-hander coming into the infield section of turn 5 and through turn 6 and 7 is where Ogiwara bit straight back. A fantastic move. Then Ikegami tried again, as you saw in the highlights, through turn 8, but just ran it onto the paint on the outside. Couldn't get it stopped, couldn't get it hooked up onto the apex, and Ogiwara repassed him and then defended brilliantly down to the final corner. But there was literally nothing to split the duo yesterday. Ikegami shadowing Ogiwara for a lot of the race, then pounced, but Ogiwara pounced straight back. A fascinating fight between the 2 Japanese riders. Hopefully more of the same today. Maybe this rider on your screen, Bumpraway, first podium in the pocket now, 16 points, a healthy points tally to start the year. He'll be confident of being in that group from the off.
Yeah, the number 1 side he was just doing there on the grid, so he's hopeful as well here. And if he can get with them, he got a bit caught up in those early stages, a bit of battling going on, so if he can make a clean start, we know he starts well, so if he can just get that sorted, he might be able to run with them at the front. We're talking about Novapong Bumpraway, goes from the inside of row 1 in P3. Now, yesterday, Archie Schmidt caused a little bit of an accident further downfield and took out the other wild card rider, the number 24 of Panchrak Chitwirulchat, and that was a shame because the number 24 was a very, very fast starter, and it was right at the last corner where that happened. And now Archie Schmidt has been given a double long lap penalty in this race for irresponsible riding.
Yeah, a bit of a shame for the young Australian, of course. Sort of deserves a long lap, double long lap penalty, unfortunately, but that's sort of what it can happen into a tight last corner on the final lap, trying to go for as many points as possible. Really, really close racing here, of course, in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. So a bit unfortunate, obviously, for both riders, but Archie Schmidt, unfortunately, a podium finish here last year, of course, at fault. So yeah, unfortunately for Schmidt, he's going to take a double long lap penalty, so that makes his race 2 even more difficult.
We just got a glimpse at the head of the 2nd row, Alphonse Dakigan. He had a relatively decent race yesterday, but he still chases a first podium in the class.
He certainly does. 8 top 10s for Alphonse Dakigan in 2024, P9 best overall, and he beat that yesterday, finishing P5, Alphonse Dakigan. So that was better than any result he achieved in 2024. So a good start to Dakigan's campaign in 2025, but 10 seconds off the race victory. The number 22 will be wanting to be closer than that in race 2.
Haruki Matsuyama ahead of, in the middle of that 2nd row in 5th place. He finished 4th yesterday, came through very, very well indeed. So keep an eye on the number 2. Saw him this morning, very, very relaxed, very, very confident.
Yeah, he had great late race pace yesterday, didn't he? He was catching the likes of Dakigan and Ayutula by about a second a lap for 2 or 3 laps at a time, and that's when he reeled them in and was able to finish P4.
This is your starting grid then, Ikegami, Ogiwara and Bumpraway, your front row. And that was really the story of yesterday too. Dakigan for the Philippines in 4th, ahead of Matsuyama and Pratumtong. Then Chavan, Chitwirulchat and Lidaka there in 9th place. Your front 3 rows, a real array of nationalities. Archie Schmidt heads up row 4, but he's got to take a long lap penalty. Keep an eye on Ayatollah in 11th place. He was a really rapid starter yesterday, so be sure that he's going to push right on from the middle of that 4th row. All the way down to row 7, as you can see, Minjae Hutri and Shiyu, who scored points yesterday and became the first woman to score points in the ATC since 2014. I think at the time I said it was the first ever. I meant in this season, as in the first time this season, because we've had plenty of successful women, not just in this class, but right across all motorcycle racing competitions. Kiko Giles and Elliot York bringing you the coverage here today and throughout the rest of the season. We've had 1 race done. This one is going to be a cracker. I can feel it already. race 2 in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup from the Chang International Circuit in Buriram, Thailand, round 1 of their season. They're just heading out on their warm-up lap. Elliott, turn 3, always a pinch point, but they all got through there cleanly yesterday. Let's hope for the same today.
Absolutely, yeah. Obviously, Slipstream City down the pretty much kilometre long, back straight here in Thailand. Turn 2 is not really much of a corner, it's a little kink on straight. Full chat, of course, down into turn 3. Plenty of passing opportunities on this Chang International Circuit. A fabulous layout, 33 degrees air temperature at 9:45 in the morning. Core blimey, it is. I can tell you it's warm just from walking around the paddock with a rucksack on, let alone going out on machines, fast machines, and challenging layouts in this heat in full leathers and a helmet. I do not envy these guys at all. It's going to be a really, really scorching day all day today, the hottest of the weekend, so tough conditions for these guys to deal with. And this is where the race wing and overtake ultimately happened yesterday for Ogiwara through the fast right-hander at turn 7. And we said yesterday, Kiko, numerous times about turn 12. We felt it was going to come down to the final corner, and it did yesterday. This is where the huge crash happened yesterday at turn 9. This is Ikegami just taking his time around the warm-up lap. He's going to want to get the whole shot and lead from the off to try and take control of this race and set the pace that he wants to set.
He's going to have to battle very hard, I'm sure, with Ogiwara. And Bumperway, with that race of experience yesterday, it might have not been a full race, but he would have learned a lot. So let's see what he can do. I'm talking about the number 20. And like I said, keep an eye on Haruki Matsuyama as well, going for the middle of that second row. Number 2, starting from 5th place. We had one race already. Of course, that was yesterday evening Thai time. And it was Ogiwara who came away with it victorious. And we did have Ikegami and Bumperway there in 2nd and 3rd. Shout out to Badly Ayutala. He came through from that 4th row, finished 6th in the end, but he's an absolute rocket off the line. Elliott's predictions.
Oh, I think the 2 Japanese riders are going to be tough to beat out, but I reckon the number 14 of Ikegami is going to get a little bit of revenge on his compatriot today, but it's going to be a fascinating race. I think there's going to be a bigger group at the front. Hopefully there is.
I'm going to go Bumperway. Bit of Thai glory coming on here in the comms box, hopefully for the Thai fans too. The red flag then is clearing, and when we have lights out here in Buriram, 68 kilometres ahead of us, we are go on Sunday morning, and it was a better start than yesterday from the 14 of Ikegami. Looks like he's going to get to turn 1 first, and he does. He slots into the lead ahead of Ogiwara, yesterday's winner, and I think in 3rd place it was the 20 of Bumperway, but it's the 22 who's come through as well, Dakigan as well. 3 abreast down towards turn 2, through that kink there, and then it's a break-in zone of turn 3, and I can already hear the fans cheering in front of us because Thailand leads a race in the Asia Talent Cup. Not for very long though. Bumperway had it for a moment. He was pushed out wide at turn 3, but we have got that big battle that we thought we'd have.
Look at the number 13, Ayatollah from P11 on the grid. He's already up to P2 and he's looking to go past Ikegami, and he does into P1. What a start. We said he had a fast couple of starts yesterday, both in the initial start and the restart, and he's in the lead by turn 4. What a start from the number 13.
Ayatollah, what did we say? Keep an eye on him. He hasn't gone away off the line badly at all. He's leading. P1 for number 13 as they come through. Turn 5, short shoot up to turn 6 and over the top and down the hill into turn 7. It's only a little one, but it's fast through here. Ayatollah, 11th to 1st in 1 lap. Absolutely fantastic. He's going to have to defend very hard though. 3 up. Whoa, that's close. That was Dakigan getting his nose wiped for B3. Coming back through into the lead, it's Ikegami as we're coming through sector 4.
Good stuff then, Ikegami trying to get back into the race as quickly as possible. That's exactly what he did. Ogiwara, not a good first lap for the race winner yesterday. He's down in P6 at this moment in time. You'll just see him in the group on the number 16 as they go about 5 abreast into the final corner for the first time, turn 12.
Hold your breath. Oh, the 20 of Bumperway. He's had a brilliant first lap in the first few corners. He's had a stinker in the second half of the lap. So Bumperway's got work to do, but he's in the lead group. Badly Ayatollah, well, can you believe it? From the middle of that 4th row has come through to lead. He's ahead of the 22 of Dakigan. So it is a fantastic start from the Filipino rider who's there in 2nd. Pole sitter Ikegami 3rd. Haruki Matsuyama, said to watch him. He's up there in 4th place. Yesterday's race winner Ogiwara is in 5th place. And Bumperway, who got that podium and led early on, in 6th. Why am I bothering? It's all chopping and changing, and that's Matsuyama, the Japanese rider from from the middle of that second row who's come through to lead. So Haruki Matsuyama heads the charge.
And this is what someone's down in the background. Can't see who that is, unfortunately, at this moment in time. Hopefully they're all okay. Looks like they're trying to pick the bike up down at turn 3 then. A little bit of drama on lap 2. It's the number 7 of Brittani. Unfortunately, Davide Brittani has gone down, assumingly just a typical front end crash down at turn 3, hard on the ankles, of course, as Ikegami leads into turn 5.
Davide Brittani was in that big crash yesterday as well, so disastrous first round of the season for the number 7. They flick through, and look who's hit the front here. The number 14 of Ikegami. It's a big old battle, and he doesn't want to be part of it. He wants to get away, and Ogiwara, sensing that, has gone through as well. That's P2 for him, ahead of Ayatollah.
Yeah, just wide there through turn 7 was Ayatollah on the number 13, but he's regathered, kept hold of P3, and this, apart from Ikegami being at the front again, is exactly what the riders would have wanted. Of course, Ogiwara is now up to P2 as well, so the first couple of laps disrupting the two guys who had superior race pace, yesterday's rhythm, but now Ogiwara on the 16 hits the front for the first time in this race into the final corner. A classic move here in Thailand, and over the line the number 16 leads the 14, just as we saw yesterday.
Ayatollah was really close to the rear end of Ikegami as well then when it came down to turn 12, so keep an eye on the 13. He was a menace yesterday in the lead group, and he's the same again today. Ogiwara with the fastest lap of the race, but expect that to tumble. They were down to the 46.1s yesterday. They're only in the 46.8 so far. That's because of the battle, and we are still in the early stages. Slipstream City through the kink at turn 2. Ayatollah comes through again. Fantastic stuff from the 13. Will he hold on? Matsuyama, the number 2, looking to try and get through, and this time Ayatollah does hold on and does lead on the exit of turn 3. Now they'll slipstream again. This is the second bit of slipstream in action on this lap. The front straight's not really that long, but the one down from turn 1 to 3 and the one back up 3 to 4 is 3 abreast, and what a move that is. Ogiwara defends position. He led through the speed trap as well, so good stuff, and that is a big old runoff. That is for 24 Chits Wirral Chat, so he's got work to do as well.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Thai wildcard, then wide at turn 4, easily done, of course. A really fast corner, brave move at the inside, 3 abreast into turn 4. We don't see that too often as it gets a bit busy in the sort of mid-pack, trying to keep tabs on this lead group of, what is it, 7 or 8 riders at the front. That was
Pratham Tong versus Bumperaway, and they're still at it. Oh, they're gonna cost themselves time here. Oh, Bumperaway riding around the outside. He loved that line yesterday. He's got the job done, but that gap now is really stretched out, so they've got to get their heads down. They've got to work together to try and keep tabs with that lead quartet, which has got about half a second, I reckon, over them at the moment. Ogiwara ahead of Ayatollah, then it's Ikegami, and then it's Matsuyama. So that's your front 4. Then it's the 2 ties of Bumperaway and Pratham Tong that complete your top 6.
Fastest lap of the race for Alphonse Dakigan, up into 3rd place of 46.620. Plenty quicker than anyone else on circuit was the number 22 rider. And the riders behind as Bumperaway runs right again, and he's looking down at his machine. Has he got a problem as the Thai rider? It looks like he's got a potential issue. He's got his head back down again though, but that is not good at turn 1 for the podium finisher yesterday on the 20. He's lost touch with the leaders initially. Can he get his head back down and try and bridge the gap?
Well, he's going to have to do it the hard way. Oh, dearie me, swapping and changing down at turn 3. That was the 14 of Ikegami, maybe trying a bit too hard, really extreme inside line, and in the end he falls back into 2nd place. Ayatollah trying to slipstream away. Fastest lap of the race did go to Bumperaway last time around, despite his wild lines, and then he went off track obviously at turn 1-2. Dakigan hits the front, the number 22 through on the inside at turn 4, runs it wide. Oh my dear, it's like a lottery, pick any number, one of them's going to come up sooner or later. This is Archie Schmidt coming in for the first of his 2 long lap penalties. Long lap penalty, of course, really long here in Buriram. It's one of the longer ones on this season. Looks like he's got it done just about right, but he has lost a load of time, and he's now back in 14th place and right on the fringes of the points. Yeah, of course, work to do then for the number 15, the Australian. Unfortunately, as the lead group then, the top 4 were sort of threatening to get clear, but now the gap has been bridged by the chasers. Obviously battling at the front between the 4 riders, and boxing clever in the group behind has allowed the riders to catch up and make it a bit of a freight train at the front, which is great for us, not great for the 4 leaders who are trying to break clear. Dakigan leads them down towards turn 12. Ogiwara slots into second place ahead of Ikegami. Ayatollah there, the number 2 of Matsuyama in 5th place. The group is back together again. Let's see who set the fastest lap in that group last time around. It was Matsuyama on a 47.1, so that's pretty nippy. And actually everyone else is pretty much in the 48, so the times have tumbled, but not in the right way. So keep an eye on that number 2 of Haruki Matsuyama. Going in 5th place at the moment. He started 5th. They fan out 5 abreast. Well, it's a wide old track here in Buriram, and they're using every possible lane they can. Down towards turn 3. Hold your breath. Dakigan got a bit of a bobble on, but he holds it this time around. Leading out front, it is the number 13 of Badly Ayatollah up the straight again to turn 4.
Great racing here, the Idemitsu Asian Talent Cup. Do watch out for the number 2 of Matsuyama. We mentioned his pace late in the race yesterday with 11 laps to go. We've not even got down to what the whole race was yesterday. Tyre consumption is going to be more of a factor in this race, so Matsuyama displayed awesome pace in the latter stages to get himself up into P4. He's not got as much work to do now, so will the number 2 be able to hold on to that rear tyre a bit more than everyone else come the latter stages of the race?
Through turn 6 and 7 as we take a breather up here in Comms. Been a frantic opening to the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup race 2. It couldn't have been a bit more different to race 1, where we had a true classic head-to-head between Ogiwara and Ikegami, but this is much more like what we're used to seeing right the way through the 12 seasons history of the Asia Talent Cup. This is what we're used to. Absolute closely fought pack racing at the front, which is normally sorted out with elbows and a last lap lunge. We've got 11 laps to go. We're a third of the way through this race when they come across the line. Oh, Dakigan, I was going to say, I don't think he was going to trouble any apexes there. Runs it wide, but look at that, he holds on. So important to note that if no one's under him on the last lap, he could get away with that if he wants to push his luck a bit more. Ayatollah comes through to lead, so once again the rider from 11th on the grid, you can't help but think he was out of position, and he's come through to lead the race one more time.
The pace has dropped, as you said, Kiko, the sort of wrong way. They're going slower than they were yesterday, a couple of seconds, sorry, in fact, and slower than they were earlier on in the race. So I think they've just settled down, of course, in the opening exchanges. The riders who feel like they've got better pace, Ikegami and Ogiwara, 2 of those. Bumproway, of course, on the podium yesterday, who was 8/10 quicker on your screens there. He's recovered well from that mistake at turn 1 a couple of laps ago as the Thai rider, and he's back up into P5, I think he is. So good stuff from the number 20, shadowing P2 finisher yesterday in Ikegami. But I think everyone's just settled down. The riders who wanted to break clear know that they can't do that at this moment in time. A long way to go, 10 laps to go here in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup, and we've mentioned the conditions, tough conditions out there, so it's all about preserving energy as well as tyres.
Oh, chopping and changing through turns 5 to turn 6. It's a lead group of 10. It goes all the way down to Nelson Cairoli in the number 17 in 10th place. Just ahead of him is Shingo Idaki, who is in 9th place, and he's just moved up to 8th place because Sarthak Chavan is in there as well, the Indian riders. So a real fresh mix of faces at the front in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup as we come through turns 9, the long left of turn 10, the flick right for turn 11, then all the way down to turn 12, and Ogiwara is trying to make hay while the sun is shining here on Dakigan, and he gets that move done. I thought he was just going to go a bit wide, but he gets it done and all sorted. Ogiwara resumes the lead. He's on for a double as things stand. Don't often say that in the Asia Talent Cup. They come across the line one more time. Japan leads the Philippines, and it's Indonesia and 2 more Japanese riders with Ikegami and Matsuyama. So that is exactly the order in terms of the nationalities, but don't sleep on the Thai riders. 6th and 7th, we're talking about Pratham Tong and also Bumproway right there as well. And keep an eye on Bumproway, he's been setting good lap times and he's back in this lead group. He's just about to come through on Matsuyama. Ayatollah hits the front again. He's going to keep chopping and changing as far as the leader is concerned, but there are riders who are coming back into this race. Yeah,
brilliant stuff from these riders there. Now, you get the sense that a lot of them want to lead this race, get a bit of fresh air on that front tyre. You can imagine in the pack that it's getting even warmer than it already is as the riders go pretty much 4 or 5 abreast down into turn 4. No one's going to triple the race leader through turn 4, but look at this, number 20 and Bumproway up the inside, but he's going to run slightly wide. Ikegami getting a nice sweeping run through turn 4 to allow him to sweep back up the inside of the number 20, but as we mentioned previously, he's recovered really well. We potentially thought he had a problem with the machine, but no such issues with the number 20. He's in P4, he's right in this victory hunt.
He just went from 7th to 3rd, he went back to 4th, fourth, but a massive move down into turn 4. So bumper away. Is he racing at home by any chance? Oh, that's tight at the back of the group. Oof, dearie me. Keep it clean, boys, through turn 8 and 9. This is back up towards turn 9, and that's Ikegami moving his way through on Ayatollah, I believe, as they come through. Sorry, no, it wasn't. It was on Matsuyama. Matsuyama now in the podium places. I'll tell you what, where's Ogiwara gone? He's dropped back a few places here.
I was just thinking the same thing, but I think he's just shadowing a move up the inside at the final corner, and that's number 22, Ogiwara there, just overtaking the podium finish yesterday. Bumproen is alongside Dakigan as well. So Ogiwara just keeping his powder dry for the moment in time. Did lead briefly, didn't he? Thought he was potentially going to try and split the group and break clear, but he's in the mid-pack somewhat, down to P7 as things stand through turn 1, and Ikegami up in P2. So at this moment in time, with 8 laps to go, Ikegami in the better position, but in the best position he has been for a while, and with a nice little gap now, as well as the number 13 of Ayatollah.
Just seeing on our timing monitor that Chip Wirral Chat has come into the pit lane. So the wildcard Panjarek Chip Wirral Chat is out. He started 8th and he had a very solid ride yesterday until he was taken out by Archie Schmidt. So no points here for this home round, this home wildcard round for the number 24. Hopefully we'll see him again soon because he's shown great potential. Back in the battle for the front. And it is still the number 13 of Ayatollah, who's probably led this race now more than anyone else in that lead battle at the front. But you can be sure that it won't stay that way for long. Ikegami's already right with him. And then in third, Matsuyama, keep an eye on him.
Exactly that, yeah. Ayatollah last time around was the only rider in the 147s pretty much in the league group, apart from Kai Rowley, who was also in the 147s on the number 17 machine, just in the back of your picture there. So Kai Rowley has good pace as well, and such is the nature of this circuit. Even if you've got a couple of tenths in hand, the slipstream drags you back in, down the back straight and then back up towards the big grandstand as well. So you've got to have a bit more in hand if you want to break clear. Ayatollah did threaten that for the time being, but Ikegami has dragged the pack back in. And is he going to make a move up the inside at turn 12? No, he thinks better of it this time around. And Ogiwara on the 16 has shadowed his way back up to P3. Yeah,
back in the podium positions for now for Ogiwara, but there's the whole group of them trying to take that right off him. It is a lead group of 10 all the way back to the number 11 of Chavan. So keep an eye on that. The number 11 of Sartak Chavan on the started this race from the head of the third row in P7, so obviously got pace, and he's with the leading group as well. He's just being tailed off a little bit as it stands. Ayatollah still leads, but Ogiwara comes through on Ikegami. Bumper away on that traditional wide sweep line. Lovely style from the number 20. He loves those long corner speed, those long sweeping lines, so keep an eye on that number 20. He's doing well so far. We've just ticked into half race distance, and don't forget, if there is a red flag with 10 laps done, that'll be it. That would be a race, 2/3 race distance, and we'll tell you when it's completed.
Classic Chang International Circuit slow-mo down into the final corner. Hard on the brakes is the number 13 current race leader, of course. Ayatollah gets it hooked up onto the apex nice and early, and then it's all about standing the little Honda 250 machines up and getting it powered down to the short run to the line, of course, on the final lap. Now then, is this Ogiwara trying to make his move to the front? We spoke about him a little bit earlier on, a couple of laps ago. He was in P6 or P7. Now he's shadowed his way up to P2. Is he going to make a move at the final corner? We'll wait and see in about 20 seconds time, maybe less. And is this Ogiwara just trying to show the pack his hand early doors?
Well, I wouldn't think he's going to try and show his hand. He might be trying to hit the front and then clear off out of it, but has he watched an Asia Talent Cup race in the last couple of seasons, or ever? Because it is not quite like that. Coming out at turn 12, then they come across the line to complete another lap. Ayatollah is still leading the way. Ogiwara second, Bumperway third. Ikegami has dropped back to 5th place now, the number 14, and he's coming under attack from Matsuyama, but just keeps his fellow countrymen at bay this time. Keep an eye on Bumperway. He has been absolutely like a missile down this straight here to turn 3, so just keep an eye on that number 20 and whether or not he's going to be able to make moves. I think he's a bit too far back now unless he comes to the inside, but he's got Dakigan, who's a little bit out of shape, making it 2 in 1. Oh, front end cries, but doesn't cry too much. He gets it done, and Dakigan back into the podium places.
Yeah, good block pass there. You could see Ogiwara trying to take his natural sweeping line through turn 3, and he just wasn't able to do it because Dakighan had parked his Honda up the inside. So that cost Ogiwara a bit of time and a place, of course, but firing back up the straight through turn 4. The gap that had bridged for Ayatollah up the front is now broken once again, and Dakighan up the inside. So the race leaders change, keeper for the first time in a good handful of laps.
Dakighan knew he had to make that move as well, because I think Ayatollah generally has got very good race pace because he's been able to stay at the front despite the slipstream. Oh, and pouncing whilst he's down. Ogiwara back up into P2, and Ayatollah will have to respond very quickly because there's 2 riders now that have got good pace just like him, and they don't want to stretch the, well, they want to stretch the field out, but he won't want to be dropped. So Ayatollah, the number 13 there in P3, has got a little bit of work to do, but he's had a good stint at the front. Funny that they're making the moves as 2/3 race distance comes into the horizon. Oh dear me, 4 abreast down towards turn 12. Oh, Ayatollah, brilliantly done, sweeps across both of Ogiwara and Dakighan to come through to lead across the line. Is he on lap money? Because he's leading across the line pretty well to me. Ayatollah 11th to P1, 5 laps to go.
Yeah, classic move that from Ayatollah down into the final corner. I was going to say it was bad news to lose P1 and P2, then it was even more bad news to have Ikegami podium finish yesterday behind you, but Ayatollah down into the final corner, maybe a bit of a mirror to what we could see in the final stages, but he's going to lose P1, you feel, as they go 5, 6 abreast down into turn 3. Ikegami late on the brakes, Ayatollah into second, and Dakighan once again for the second time in a row, costing Ogiwara time up the inside, the number 22. Good move once again.
Ikegami came from P3 to P1 then. Look at Ayatollah, what? He does not want to be looking at any other Asia Talent Cup machines. He wants clear air at the front, and why not? Do you blame him? Oh, Dakighan! From where was that? It was from about 4th place. Dakighan, well, fearless, that's about right. Somehow holds on through turns 4 and 5 and is leading again. Oh, Ayatollah elbows out, it starts it. Who's that on the tie line? Was that Kairoli? It was Kairoli. The number 17's now got through on bumper away, and that's put him up inside the top 7. So keep an eye on Kairoli. But as you can see, this group, it is a massive 20-wheeler at the front, and it is going to keep changing for the next 5 laps as we head towards the big closing, deciding laps in this race.
Tell you what, Dakighan in the front of the lead did well to keep it on the straight and narrow through turn 8. Was deep into turn 8, just about held it onto the curb at turn 9. He's not got a great run through turn 11 though. The fast sweeping kink down into turn 12. Ayatollah at the inside, but it is Ogiwara who comes through to lead the race, and Dakighan just loses time there, just got shoved a little bit wide by the number 13. It's getting aggressive now. Kiko, 4 laps to go.
Oh, close stuff there through turn 12. You just got to hold your breath for a moment at turn 12 and turn 3, particularly on the last lap. Please, guys, keep it on the island. And as I say that, Dakighan takes no advice from up here in commentary. Fair enough, I suppose. Coming through, the 14 of Ikegami, and that is the 21 of Idaka who's come through. Where on earth has Shingo Idaka come from? That was 9th on the grid on the 3rd row, and he's now looking at a podium. But look who's hit the front, it's Ayatollah again, and Ogiwara, yesterday's race winner. There's a reason why he won. His racecraft is so good, and he's just there in P2 and not in the big battle, at least for the moment. He's got Matsuyama for company, but that's P3 and a few bike lengths back.
Yeah, Idaka actually finished P7 and P5 in Japan as a wild card last year, so expectations are high. Really impressed over the Mobility Resort Motegi on home soil last year, so great to see the number 21 in this league group and fighting for a podium. There he is in P5.
Ogiwara hits the front, and Ikegami's trying to come through for P3 on Matsuyama. Can't get it done. So yesterday's race winner, right at the point of where it matters to lead races, has started to come to the fore. Will anybody be able to get on terms with him? Ayatollah has been very, very strong down into turn 12, but he might not have the opportunity because Matsuyama's come through. Now, that is a surprise move. Don't see too many passes at turn 9, but through he's come. So Matsuyama has just that move he's done there at turn 9. It's just fractured that group up, but Matsuyama's fancying this. I reckon he's going to try and have a go at the lead if he's close enough. Down towards turn 12. Does he let the brakes off on his fellow countryman? Not this time. Ayatollah strong again. Ikegami trying to come through on Idaka. That's for P4. We're coming across the line. 3 laps to go.
Yeah, tell you what, I think Ikegami can see Ogiwara just starting to get into a rhythm. He's been uninterrupted for a good lap now as Ogiwara, and you can see a slight gap building. Potentially not enough so far to really worry the chasers, but Ikegami knows that he's got to bridge that gap, get past the two riders in front of him and try and go with Ogiwara, because he's settled into a nice rhythm now. He wasn't as quick on that last lap as the other riders, but Ogiwara with fresh air in front of him with just under 3 laps to go. This is worrying times for the chasers.
You know that Ayatollah is going to have a go, though. You just know he's going to have a good old lunge somewhere if it means staying in contention. And he's been very, very fast in this bit here, down the speed trap, turn 3 to turn 4. He's just not quite close enough, though, this time. He's got a little bit of clear air in front of him, so keep an eye on the 30. He's closing it up. Oh, he has a look and thinks better of it. Good decision, I think, there on the half of Badley there. Oh, maybe not, because Ikegami has come through too. Now, there's a reason why Ikegami and Ogiwara were the first and second yesterday, reverse order, of course. First and second on the grid, first and second in the race. Now the first and second with 2.5 laps to go.
Big moment this in the race, you feel. 2.5 laps to go. Ogiwara into a nice rhythm. This is potentially going to be the fastest lap of the race, I'm predicting, from Ogiwara at the front. Ikegami is going to be close to him, though, but now he's got to get his head down. Not long left to go in this race, and there's a nice little gap building. It's over half a second now, and that's pretty much enough to try and bridge the slipstream, cancel out the slipstream that is ferocious here in Thailand. And Ikegami, of course, still has Ayatollah and Matsuyama to deal with down at the final corner. The number 13 sweeps on through, chops the nose of the number 14, and he's back up into P2. A great move down into turn 12.
Ayatollah's going to need a qualifying lap, but preferably not his, because that's why he comes down on the 4th row anyway. So Ayatollah, it's half a second at the front between Ogiwara and Ayatollah. They're going to have to close down the 16 if they've got a chance of winning. Oh, and that's no chance of winning for Badley Ayatollah. Oh, well, he had such a good race, and it's all come to a crashing halt at turn 1 on the penultimate lap. Well, he came through from 11th, he led on the first lap, he could have parked it from then on in if he really had to. He'd already had such a good race, but that was not deserved. Badley Ayatollah, no points in race 2, an absolute shame for the 13.
Yeah, that is a real shame. Down at turn 1, of course, pushing in the latter stages of the race. Let's get another replay of what happened just at the front of your picture. Yeah, the front end just says, no, thank you, I don't fancy this no more. And unfortunately, that is the number 13's race over, but he can be proud of his performance today. Up, back, walking. He'll be disappointed, of course, but plenty more to come for the number 13 in 2025.
Keep an eye on this. Look at Ikegami. He's closing down on Ogiwara. The gap was just nearly 0.6 of a second. Now it's just under half a second. So Ikegami is really giving this a good go, and Matsuyama's going with him. So at the moment, Japan 1, 2, 3, even if they are using all the track and the bits they're not supposed to. Bumproy has come back up into this. He's in 4th place, but I don't think... Oh, big moment behind. That was Dakigan getting it all wrong, but I think he stayed on the bike. He just lost a load of time. Bumproy, I think, is out of it at the moment. It is between the 3 Japanese riders at the front to see who's going to take it. They come down towards turn 12 for the penultimate time of asking. It's Ogiwara ahead of Ikegami. Matsuyama looking for a podium if he can. Last lap time in Buriram, race 2 here for the ATC, and it's Matsuyama who sets a 46.6 and the fastest lap of the race, but it is now a lead group. 3/10 between first and second. We've got a race on.
We certainly have. What did we say about Matsuyama's late race pace yesterday? The fastest lap of the race on the penultimate lap, and the number 2 is shadowing his compatriot Ikegami down into turn 3. Is a move coming here in the podium fight. Ogiwara hasn't got as much time as he thought he did, and Ikegami, is he going to make a move at the inside? Not quite this time around. Matsuyama thinks better of it, but they're all close together now. They're closer than they were at the start of the lap. Now it's the run up to turn 4.
Let's see what Ikegami can do. Of course, he was robbed yesterday, having done so much of the donkey work. Ogiwara, well, wouldn't want to happen the same to him, but it might not be between either of them. Oh, dearie me, 16 coming through just ahead of Ikegami. Ikegami right there. Will he try a lunge at turn 6? No, he doesn't, so he's keeping his powder dry. Ogiwara pushing on, though. Don't rule out Matsuyama. He's a rookie this year. Unbelievable stuff from the number 2.
Watch out for turn 8, then. This is turn 7, where Ogiwara made a move last time around, but turn 8 is coming up. Ikegami tried there yesterday. Will he try there again, or will Matsuyama try at turn 8? We're about to find out. No, thinks better of it. Kiko, I think this is all coming down to the final corner. Turn 9, then it's the run down to turn 12.
Oh dear, hold your breath then. The 3 Japanese riders, Ogiwara won yesterday. He's got a race win under his belt. It was pole for Ikegami. He was done in the final stages. And Haruki Matsuyama has never won a race in the ATC. He only started yesterday, but it's all coming down to turn 12 now. 3 abreast. Ogiwara, super defensive, just like yesterday. Does this cost him time this time? No, it doesn't. I think he's just going to hold on. Yes, he does. Ryota Ogiwara doubles up at the destination of speed. Ikegami second and a first podium in just his second start in the class. Matsuyama, it's a Japan 1-2-3. Fantastic stuff at the front. Home hero Bumprae takes fourth. Dakigan in fifth, and Nelson Cairoli comes through, and that's a brilliant result to complete the top 6. Hidaka in seventh place. A strong start to the season from him, but not as strong as Ryota Ogiwara. Doubling up in Buriram. He's got his season off to a perfect start.
Well, a healthy slice of deja vu here at the destination of speed on Sunday morning. Ogiwara going ultra defensive down into turn 12, getting it stopped on the anchors and not allowing Ikegami, who again was forced to take that wide sweeping line, try and get his head under the bubble on the gas as early as possible to get a run to the line. He was closer than he was yesterday, but not quite enough. Ogiwara, the number 16, that's 8 podiums in his last 9 races now in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup, and a perfect way to get his campaign up and running in 2025. The experienced Japanese rider, phenomenal stuff once again from the top 2, and shout out of course to Matsuyama, a close P3, less than 2/10 off the race win. Fantastic stuff from the Japanese trio.
We got to the top 7. Tanachat Pratham Tong was 8th place. Sartak Chavan took 9th, and it was Schmidt in 10th. Archie Schmidt, after his double long lap penalty, coming home ahead of Tieran Fleming, just being nudged out of the top 10 in the end. In all, a fantastic race. A shame for Badley Ayutala. You'd have thought that if he was right there on that last lap, he'd have had no qualms about throwing it up the inside of Ogiwara down at turn 12. But at least they all made it through. At one point in the race, I was a bit sceptical on that fact alone.
Yeah, exactly that. Massive shame for Ayutula to crash out in the way he did. He's absolutely perfectly okay, of course, and as we said, there is plenty more to come, you feel, from the Indonesian in 2025. A fantastic race from all the guys up there in the top 7, top 8, top 9 who were in that lead group, but just as the race came down to the final stages, you just saw Ogiwara and Ikegami pull the pin. Matsuyama was able to go with him. Bumprae just lost out in the latter stages, couldn't quite cling on to the coattails of the top 3. It's P4, a great ride nonetheless for the Thai rider. You can hear the fans in my ears and in your ears as well, Kick. I'm sure you can, watching on from home as well. The grandstand is filling up nicely here for race day, and the fans have been treated to a spectacle once again in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. Fantastic stuff.
Brilliant stuff. Turn 12 delivering, Buriram delivering. It's a fantastic place. You can hear the cheers of the crowd. There's a lot of Ryota Ogiwara fans around this place. Lots of number 16 shirts floating about in the paddock, floating around in the grandstands. So really good stuff from the young Japanese who's got good fans here all the way over in Thailand. So really, really successful start for him. Ikegami, well, he comes away with 2 P2s. Very much a contender in 2025. Only 10 points back, and we've got a lot of racing still to go. It's a long season.
Yeah, we absolutely have. Remember, it's only his second season. Was a rookie last year, of course. Was Ikegami finished P5 overall, but 2 podiums, 2 P2s. Okay, so close to the win. The combined losing margin was less than 1/10 of a second. It doesn't come much closer than that for Ikegami, so he's going to be disappointed, as we're going to get a replay of the closing stages. This was Ogiwara up that turn 5, backing it in nicely up the insides of Ayutula to take the race lead for the first time in a while. And this, Kiko, is what happened at turn 1. Ayutula on the 13 in P2, trying to go with Ogiwara just as the number 16 rider pulled the pin, was setting a good pace out front, and unfortunately the front end said no more. And this was the final corner. Ogiwara just getting it stopped and just getting it upright in time. If the line was, you feel, another 50 metres down there, Ikegami might have had a chance, but the riders know if you can get it stopped at the apex, it's a short burst to the checkered flag. And Ogiwara, just as he did yesterday, points his finger up to the team, and he is very, very pleased with that. Tough conditions out there, of course, but nonetheless, fantastic racing, fantastic racecraft as well from Ogiwara, the pace setter early doors in the Asia Talent Cup.
Fantastic stuff indeed. Just 22 thousandths of a second as well, closer than yesterday, but both races starting in 2025 with less than a tenth of a second, deciding exactly who comes away with the 25 points. As you can see down there, Parc Ferme is well underway, and they'll be all very, very delighted, I'm sure. You can see down there Davide Brivio from the Trackhouse MotoGP team in the centre of shot, keeping an eye on the next talent, and well, he might. He's got Ayagura. Ayagura came through the Asia Talent Cup. It's no joke when we say these guys will be in MotoGP not long before you know it.
Absolutely, a phenomenal breeding ground for the future stars from this side of the world.
The race results then, race 2 in the Asia Talent Cup, another thriller, as I'm sure you'd come to expect. Ogiwara was your race winner ahead of Ikegami and Matsuyama. I'm not quite sure the gaps are quite right, but it's Bumproe in 4th. Dakigan was 5th in the end, ahead of Cairoli. I'm just wondering if Cairoli has been demoted a place according to that graphic, because we saw Dakigan shaking his head on the exit of turn 12, but on our timing monitor, it's still Cairoli there in 6th place. Patum Tong for the home guys there, the home fans, takes 8th place. Chavan in 9th, and 10th for Archie Schmidt. And then as we all come through, down right the way through, Badley Ayatollah out, that's the big name. Shaf Marie's out as well. He had a big crash in yesterday's race. Well, the points are correct, I can tell you that. Ryota Ogiwara, 50, a perfect start. 10 ahead of Seiryu Ikegami. Haruki Matsuyama, rookie in 2025, not that you'd know it. Nopapong Bumproe, podium yesterday, 4th today. A very special homecoming for him. Alfonsi Dakigan, 5th place with 2 P5s. Nelson Cairoli coming up as well. Tieran Fleming, another Thai rider in the top 10. So plenty for the home nation to shout about here at home, and all the way down through the points. As you can see, Indonesia, Australia, Vietnam, Malaysia, South Korea and China, all with a point on the board. 17, 18-point scorers right at the start of a brand new season of Asia Talent Cup action. Back down with your live shots in. We're getting ready for the podium very, very soon. Ogiwara and Ikegami know the procedure, but let's talk about Haruki Matsuyama. We said at the top of the programme to keep an eye on the number 2 going from P5, and it was for good reason. P3, good job in just his 2nd race. Spectacular.
Yeah, exactly. P4 yesterday in his 1st race was a job well done from Matsuyama, and we did mention numerous times, didn't we, just the impressive pace he showed late on in race 1. A shortened race distance, of course, so tyre consumption was going to be a factor in this race, and he had a bit in hand, didn't he? Set the fastest lap of his race and nearly of the race in the closing exchanges, and was so close to the victory, to be just under 2 tenths off the win and not even finish 2nd. That's just the way it goes in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. But to get that first podium on the board, Matsuyama, a really, really good job. Would have learned a heap loads of well from the 2 riders, his compatriots, of course, with Ogiwara and Ikegami. Much more experience than Matsuyama, but a first trophy in the pocket for the young Japanese rider.
Yeah, he'll be happy to take that in extra hand luggage back home to Japan. I'm very, very sure about that. Japan 1, 2, 3, absolute domination at the start of 2025 in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. 2nd place to Seiryu Ikegami, and then 1st place going to Ryota Ogiwara. Another victory for him, and he can be delighted. We'll get the Japanese national anthem right now. a very long version of the Japanese national anthem there. Don't we all just love that? Can someone tell Seryu Ikegami that he has still got 2 podiums? Talk about a face of thunder on the left. He's really cheesed off about not getting a victory. I wonder what that translates to in Japanese.
Yeah, you're asking the wrong person, mate, but a great weekend nonetheless for Ikegami.
He started from pole, so he got the job done in qualifying, and he grabbed the whole shot here. 15 laps, 68 kilometres of Asia Talent Cup action. Got underway very, very briefly at the start, and it was an absolute riot in the opening stages. Plenty of chopping and changing. We had the home hero of Bumbrae, Pratam Tong, Wirral Chat as well. So lots of representation for Thailand at home here on Thai soil. But it was badly Ayutala who came rocketing through from the middle of that 4th row, 11th to 1st, in literally 4 corners. So absolutely remarkable stuff from him. All the way downfield, a couple of riders running out wide and battles all the way through. But it was Ogiwara who hit the front end of Ayutala in the closing stages. 14 of Ikegami trying to come through, and then disaster. It was a big drama. 4:13 of Ayutala. All the hard work throughout the race, and it came to a very abrupt end at turn 1 in the closing stages. That left us with a 3-horse race at the front. Ogiwara versus Ikegami versus Matsuyama. Japan versus Japan versus Japan. And just like in race 1, it came down to a turn 12. Pick any line you want, shootout. And like yesterday, Ogiwara was the one who doubled up in style. 50 points to start his ATC 2025 title tilt. And he's got every reason to be thoroughly happy about that one. And I think that is all.